Hey everyone, today we begin a brand new series where we will be building our shed. We will be building it very similar to the main home. We will be putting a concrete foundation, waterproofing, insulation. This shed will be critical for us to be able to finish the house, and that's why we're going to be taking this slight detour. Plus the fact that I'm having a difficulty finding a metal guy. This is the area, it's been excavated already, and tomorrow the concrete guys will show up and we'll begin to lay out the forms. So this should be exciting. We decided to do this also because we will be using this shed to learn to build the main house so that we can potentially make mistakes here and not make mistakes in the main house. So let's get into it. What you see right here is the area of the shed that we're going to be building. The shed is a tremendously huge priority for us because the shed will act as a shop, it will act as a warehouse as well. So it's critical that we get it done as soon as possible. There was a difficulty when the excavator got here. The engineer required us to only fill up to 3 feet from the top of footing. And so that meant we'd have a huge mountains of dirt over here and a huge hole over here. And effectively that machine couldn't make it all the way through. So we kind of had to think about it a little, and we have a few pros and cons to evaluate. So for example, the con is obviously the engineer told us not to fill more than 3 feet. The engineer's word has a tremendous weight. On the pro side, let's say our excavator, our foundation contractor, they have been doing this for like decades, literally. They've suggested that it should be fine. They've backfilled walls that are like 3 times this high. Additionally, I don't know if you might remember, the concrete has a fiber mesh, which gives it additional strength, as well as a counterfort that was not part of the design. So all those components kind of led us to make a decision to backfill at least this side all the way to the top. Hey, so we're here marking the corners of the shed. So as you can see here, the 2 external corners will be our excavation, and the inner corner will be the corner of the shed. You can see the other corners here as well. We have an interesting dilemma because of the slope, so we're thinking we're going to use this bottom corner of the shed to be the bottom of the shed, and then the flat part of the shed we'll use the reference of the top flags up there. The reason for that is because it makes our life easier when we bring out the French drain coming from the tiny foundation of the shed. So that's mainly the reason. We're on day 2 of building the shed. On day 1 we staked out the area. We forgot to bring the chainsaw on day 1, so that's why we bring it today. Obviously part of today's effort will be to cut down all the trees that are in the shed area. So obviously safety is important. We have the chaps ready, and we will go as far as the 2 batteries we have are available. I don't really know how to cut trees, but I have seen a lot of YouTube videos, so we'll see how that training went. So this is what I learned from watching a few YouTube videos for felling trees, which, by the way, the felling term is kind of strange because it's kind of like in the past tense, but anyway, it's kind of funny to me. So the technique is to cut a notch, the first cut at an angle of 45 degrees, maybe cutting about 1/3 to half of the tree at most, then coming out straight down to fully cut the notch, and then we will come from the other side and we will do a straight cut. The straight cut will be slightly higher such that the tree falls in that direction where there's nothing to worry about, and we will be using the axe because I don't have things to push it over, shims. We will use the axe as a shim. As soon as I make the cut, I will insert it into the hole, and then once I remove the chainsaw, we will knock it, and in theory the tree should fall over. The line that you cut is effectively the line that the tree will fall to, and that's the desired cut. So we have verified that there's no harm to anyone, so the intention will be to have the tree fall in that direction where there's nothing. So yeah, let's begin. We've also checked the top to make sure there's no branches, that could fall on top of us while the tree falls. Yeah, so let's do it. So there you go. Okay, so now we're at the shed and look at the huge hole he dug for us. This is gonna be huge because we're gonna be able to save materials in there, build it, whatever. So we're like super happy. They've done an amazing job as usual. So let me show you one more thing then, and then we'll keep moving. Our concrete guys came today, and tomorrow they will be putting the footings. So check out the forms for the shed. It's not exactly where I wish it were, but it is what it is, I guess, at this point in time. So we'll just let the excavator fix it.
We are in one of my favorite days during this construction process. It's concrete day again. So today we are putting the concrete for the slab of the main house, of the mechanical room, also known as the tiny house, and the footings for the shed we are building in the back. So it's an exciting day.
Alright, so let's talk a little about the foundation itself, the topic of this episode. As you know, we don't want to go for permits in this episode, so that also meant that we did not hire an engineer to design the foundation. I ended up just designing it based on the patterns that there are on the main house. So you can see the 32-inch spacing for the dowels and whatnot. In the original design, we had to retain a little bit of earth over here, and that's why this footing is bigger. I googled proportions for a footing size to a height of wall, so that's how I came up with these dimensions. I believe it's like 4'3", something like that. I'll just put it here on the screen somewhere. But on the new design, we had to adjust. We had 4-foot walls here. We increased them to 6 foot, and then they actually come in like this, slightly under this mountain. This will need to be tapered off. And then around here, the concrete drops to like 5 feet, and then we just come on a straight line, and you can see we are pretty much at 5 feet right here, so that the front of the shed is in good shape and it's more comfortable in the new design. So that's generally speaking the footings for the foundation, and there's a lot more work for the walls.
Okay, so first we should discuss why we have this size and this shape of the shed. So we decided we wanted to do this without having a permit, and it's allowed, but there are some limitations. So in the town of Netherland, I don't remember the exact dimensions, but this one it's about 15 feet by 12.5. Hector played with the render to make sure that we fit within that, and we're like 2 inches below the limit.
And that counts exterior insulation and siding and all that stuff.
Yeah, so that's one limitation. The other one is the height cannot exceed 12 feet, and you cannot have any permanent services such as power, water, or sewer. So those are the rules to have this without any permits.
Here you can see the original design. In the original design, we used to have the door right here, but as you can see here, there's a problem. The mountain is like right here. This was a little bit of a mistake on my part, or our part, because she also didn't come. I wanted to be here when the contractors were here. I actually told them that we wanted to have this shed pushed to that end and to that end, so that we could have these flat areas for work and whatnot. But it ended up being completely the opposite. So good lesson for you, if you ever do it, be there when the contractors are there, especially when it comes to concrete. So because of that, we changed the design for it.
Yeah, so I can discuss the new design. So as Hector mentioned, the door was supposed to be there and we would have a flat area to work outside. So since we have more space this way, now we changed it. So the door is going to be here where Hector is
It's like 6 feet or more probably.
Yeah, it's a double door. And then right here, if you can see, we have another like 6 feet of area where we're going to put a pad. And this is so you can open the doors and maybe bring out machines and work outside.
I wouldn't call it a pad, it's just going to be flat, and we'll see what in the future. Our goal will be to flatten all this area right here and flatten all this area right here, so that maybe we can make a little house for the generator outside of the shed, and then that can feed us electricity to the main shed. So yeah, that's the new design. We had to dynamically adjust to the circumstances.
We also changed the roof, and we actually like this design better. It was due to like this didn't come out as we planned, but we actually like this design a little bit better.
Yeah, we used to have like a 4-12 roof pitch on one side and a 3-12 pitch on the other. But now we actually reduced the pitch size to a 2-12 pitch roof. I think it'll look much nicer, but it itself will present its complexities for when we get to the roof. So we'll just talk about it when we get to it. Check out this mess. We got like maybe like a couple inches of rain in like 2 hours. So it was like a tropical forest in here. Look at all the water down there. See, they already began laying out the forms. We are hoping to finish tomorrow. Today's Wednesday, and maybe pour concrete on Friday. Hopefully they don't shy away from this, and they keep working. I'd love to get this foundation poured. At least on the inside is clear. Can you imagine all the things that happened to your house that happened and you never actually saw?
Coming in a few hours, and this is what we're doing. We have some very good lessons from the main house. The first lesson is that it's definitely worth it to put this while the concrete is fresh. Like drilling the holes to put this in, we found that the super powerful battery of the drill, we can drill 5 holes and that's it. So it's definitely worth it to spend the time. Now, you have already seen this yellow mark from our previous foundation video. This was a great idea. It gives us like a big indicator. We can see from farther away if this is set correctly. If the concrete is here, we need to push it down. If we don't see the yellow tape, we need to bring it up. So you have seen that before. Now here is the new part. We are actually covering the threads above with the masking tape. And that is because if concrete gets into the threads and then you try to put in the knot, this is going to be extremely difficult, and it's very difficult to take the concrete out of it. So this is taking time, but it's absolutely worth it. The final thing I should mention is all of these are J-bolts, believe it or not. This is the original one. We have some left from the house, but then we didn't have any more available. The other ones have to be ordered. Takes too much time. So we went to Home Depot and we bought all the threaded rods that we could find. This one is a 1/2 inch, and what we do is we add 2 nuts and a washer, and we just put them like this, tighten them a little bit, and it's going to have like the same effect you get with the J-bolt, so the concrete is going to stay here. This is 1/2 inch. We have another 1/2 inch, but it's 2 feet long. Purpose is the same. It has its nuts and washer. It's just going to go deeper into the concrete, but the top is going to be exactly the same as all the other ones. And we have here another one that it's 5/8, but it's the same concept. So all of these have the same purpose. We also have these threaded rods. They are also 2 feet 5/8, but these ones are for the hold down. So that's why you see a different height in here. I think that's it. Let's wait for the concrete.
Concrete day, very exciting day. It's always fun. Check out the concrete truck. They're getting ready to begin the pour. You might see it down there. Concrete spinning. This should not be a big job considering the size of the foundation. Let's get into it. We're finally done with the foundation. As you can see, it was a super quick process. A few things I wanted to show you before we move on. We have a 4-inch sleeve. This is going to be an emergency drain for any water clean out we might do in there. The grade is actually going to be like around here, and then we're just gonna be coming in flat and then having a drop off. So that's why you see the emergency drain right there. I also wanted to show you on this side, we have another 2 sleeves. The first, they don't have an order yet. There are 2 2-inch sleeves. We're going to be using one for water, and we're going to be using one for electricity. Because it's a shed, we're not allowed to have permanent electricity or water, and that's because we didn't ask for a permit. So we will be running a hose and we will be running probably an extension cord or something like that from the main house. Or we're also planning to put solar on the shed anyway, so that's what you see here on the sleeves. And finally here somewhere, we tried to put a little mark on the concrete, H&M with a heart, and that's to represent creation, although we didn't actually make it. And by the way, it's not like the store or anything, so I guess finally we ended up using a number 5 rebar at 32-inch spacing along the wall. You might have seen that previously, and so that's it. So for perspective, this foundation took a week to build, footings and walls. The main house, it took us 1 month to build the entire footings with board and everything, 1 episode, and the walls, they took us another month. So the entire foundation of the house took 2 months. This took 1 week. It was like a piece of cake for them. So that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one.